So let's look at Psalm 82, and then I'm going to make some applications, and they are going to get me into a lot of trouble. So if you want to watch a program where I'm going to most definitely get into a lot of trouble, this is definitely going to be one of them. Psalm 82, God takes his stand in his own congregation. He judges in the midst of the rulers. How long will you judge unjustly and show partiality to the wicked? Selah. Vindicate the weak and fatherless, do justice to the afflicted and destitute, rescue the weak and needy, deliver them out of the hand of the wicked. They do not know, nor do they understand. They walk about in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are shaken. I said, you are gods, and all of you are sons of the Most High. Nevertheless, you will die like men and fall like any one of the princes. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for it is you who possesses all the nations. Now, it's only 8 verses long. It's not a lengthy psalm. But what it means and what it's talking about is key. Now, I'm not going to spend any time today dealing with the assertion that when it says he takes his stand in his own congregation, he judges in the midst of the rulers, that this is some type of intertestamental God council and all the rest of these things. God is judging the judges of Israel, who he himself has established to do justice amongst his people. You can see now where we're going, because the psalm is talking about the fact that God has established mechanisms whereby justice is to be done amongst his people. And remember, before there was a king in Israel, there were judges in Israel. The judiciary, and be careful to place that in the context it is being used in. The existence of judges is vitally important in God's economy. A righteous judge is a blessing upon a people. An evil judge is described here in Psalm 82. So God takes a stand in his own congregation. He judges in the midst of the rulers. And the term there, rulers, is theus in Greek, the Elohim. That's why they're called gods, because they are standing in the place of God. They're judging with the authority of God, which is what gives them such tremendous authority as well as tremendous responsibility. This goes all the way back to the days of Moses. Remember when Moses was just wearying himself with judging amongst all the people, and then God says, no, you need to assign judges to all these different levels of people. This is the first form of theocratic judgment and theocratic government amongst the people of Israel, which they rejected in favor of the standard, we want a king who can stand up to the other guy as king, and so on and so forth type of a concept. To have judges requires communal responsibility. It requires the people in the nation to know the law, love the law, and the one who has given the law, which is God. So in other words, the original idea as expressed here is of a free people who exercise that freedom in the worship of God, recognize God as the origin of the law, rejoice in that law, Psalm 119. Read through Psalm 119 if you haven't recently. It'll take you a while. And its repetitive nature is good because it will sort of pound something into the brain. Recognize the divine nature of that law, rejoice in that law, love that law, and then hold one another accountable to that law because you know it is divine in origin and therefore carries divine approbation and divine judgment. When you have a people who are united in that way, you don't need all the other structures. There's the fulfillment of love your neighbor as yourself is going to be the essence of what is good and honorable and just within that society. But you then have sin. You then have sin. So when you look, and we've talked about this, especially in regards to quote unquote social justice, when you look at the biblical law is intent upon protecting the innocent. The standards of evidence are high. And as in any situation in the fallen world, the greatest danger is when the judge becomes corrupt. So the standards can be played with, made variable. But the intention of God's law is not to bring about cosmic justice in this life. It is always understood that God is God, and God is going to accomplish his purpose, and justice is going to be done in the presence of God. But law has to address the fallen nature of man. And hence the focus is going to be on protecting the innocent, knowing that those who are guilty will not forever be able to get away with what they've done. There will be judgment. That's vitally important today. We've lost sight of that. We are now trying to do cosmic justice in the earthly realm. We can't do it. And it's causing chaos on planet Earth today. That's what's going on. That's what these problems, that's what the whole social justice thing is. We've got to fix everything in this life because there will be no final judgment. God will not do what is right. So the fundamental assertion of Scripture is the judge of all the earth will do right. And that's talking about God. So he's the judge of all the earth. And so there is a final judgment coming. That is a given in the biblical worldview. And that is why Christians have been able to bear with patience injustice in the past and to fight for biblical justice, not for the establishment of some kind of cosmic justice, which involves seeing into the hearts and minds of men. We can't do that. God's law does not give us a mechanism of looking into the hearts and minds of men. And so, yes, there are people who can get away with things and will get away with things in this life, not in the next. Deny that there's a next, and now you become desperate to do justice in this life, and that's when you end up destroying liberty, freedom, and innocence, and responsibility, all these things. So the point is, in Psalm 82, God takes his stand in his own congregation, he judges the midst of the rulers. How long will you judge unjustly and show partiality to the wicked? That's the accusation that echoes out through the congregation of judges. You are judging unjustly and showing partiality to the wicked. So the very reality of the wicked has to be accepted. And I say to you, we now live in a society where what God says is wicked is now considered good. And no one is allowed to say that anyone's perspective is wicked